Welcome to Development Book Club. Today we continue with the Dhammapada and we'll get through almost all of it today. We'll hop into the section of the chapter entitled The Buddha. The Buddha says, people threatened by fear go to many refuges, to mountains, forests, parks, trees, and shrines. None of these is a secure refuge. None is a supreme refuge. Not by going to such a refuge is one released from all suffering. But when someone going for refuge to the Buddha, to the Dharma, or the Sangha sees with right insight the Four Noble Truths, suffering, the arising of suffering, the overcoming of suffering, and the Eightfold Path leading to the ending or cessation of suffering, then this is the secure refuge. This is the supreme refuge. By going to such a refuge, one is released from all suffering. And these three things that we've spoken of before are the three so-called jewels of Buddhism: the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. On happiness, just one from happiness. He says, so happily we live without ambition among those with ambition. Among people who are ambitious, we live without ambition. I wanted to read you one of the endnotes from this because this sort of speaks to us here in the West. So this word usuka, U-S-S-U-K-A, here is translated as ambition, is defined by the Polytext Society Dictionary as endeavoring or eager. Other translations can be busyness, restlessness, striving, full of care. It's negative, or with an alpha privative, the anusuka means free from greed. I hope that provides us with a little bit more context, let's say, or breadth of what ambition is. Again, busyness, restlessness, striving, full of care, opposed, and the inverse of it is free from greed. So it's sort of a greed, or what we call lust a lot of times in Buddhism. There, on ambition. And thinking of this, connecting this with sense pleasure, actually, where if you think of all these things, then are they tied to what is our ultimate goal? Is it like to feel comfort or to feel pleasure? On corruption, there's a really cool one here. He says, as a smith does with silver, the wise person gradually, bit by bit, moment by moment, removes impurities from herself. It is easy to see the faults of others, but hard to see one's own. One sifts out the fruits of others like chaff, but conceals one's own, as a cheat conceals a bad throw of the dice. On the just, and as in like the just person or people, alternate in translation is those who are firmly established in the Dharma. Oh yeah, it's for my gray hair. It says, gray hair does not make one an elder. Someone ripe only in years is called an old fool, in quotes. It's through truth, dharma, harmlessness, restraint, and self-control that the wise one, purged of impurities, is called an elder. On hell. Let's go back to the just, actually. I want to reread that. Gray hair does not make one an elder. Someone ripe only in years is called an old fool. It's through truth, dharma, harmlessness, restraint, and self-control that the wise one, purged of impurities, is called an elder. On hell. Just as kusa grass cuts the hand that wrongly grasps it, so the renunciant life, if wrongly grasped, drags one down to hell. I'm supposing kusa grass is like one of these like sort of sharp grasses that could cut your hand if you're going against the grain of it. Furthermore, on hell, with steady effort, one should do what is to be done, because the lax renunciant stirs up even more dust. And the note here is that the word dust, rajam, figuratively refers to greed, hatred, and delusion. So again, with steady effort, one should do what is to be done, because the lax renunciant stirs up even more dust. So there's sort of this caution of like, don't go halfway, go all the way. That's how I hear that, at least. And finally, for this video, last chapter is called The Elephant. Really partial to this chapter, super cool. As an elephant in battle endures an arrow shot from a bow, so I will endure verbal abuse. Many people indeed lack virtue. Furthermore, excellent are tamed mules, thoroughbreds, horses of the Indus Valley, tusked elephants, and great elephants. But even more excellent are people who have tamed themselves. Not by means of these animals could one go to that place not gone to, nirvana that is, where a self-tamed person goes by means of a well-tamed, disciplined self. If you find an intelligent companion, a fellow traveler, a sage of good conduct, you should travel together, delighted and mindful, overcoming all dangers. If you do not find an intelligent companion, a fellow traveler of good conduct and wise, travel alone, like a king renouncing a conquered kingdom, like the elephant Matanga in the forest. Matanga is apparently this elephant who had had enough of the difficulties of living with a herd and so went off to enjoy a solitary life in the forest. I just thought it was really cool. There's a whole chapter about elephants. Thanks for watching.